Are you ready for an adventure? Hey everyone, and welcome back to Movies and Makeup Mondays. I'm Emelise. I'm sorry I've been gone for a hot minute. I have been feeling kind of sick and just overall depressed, and so creating things wasn't at the top of my to-do list. But I'm trying to get back into creating things, so welcome back. For those of you who have been watching and you're wondering what my movie was the last time, it was a movie called Oko's Inn, which is a Japanese anime. You can get it on Netflix. I prefer to watch foreign films in their original language with subtitle translations. However, you can get it dubbed. So go check that out. It's a great movie. It's great food for the whole family. Alright, on to today. So, you might kind of notice some of my look off of my TikTok, for those of you who follow me on TikTok. And this is the makeup look that I did for my adventure TikTok, where I took y'all on an adventure with me. And as in honor of that, I have decided to do an adventure movie. So, we need a clue. I didn't write a clue for this. So this movie has a dwarf, a snacky hippie, and a crazy martial artist. Alright, let's do this. So, first things first, I need to find my foundation. Long ago, in a land not so different from ours, a kingdom was in crisis. The king's son and heir had disappeared when he was but a toddler, and his heir apparent nephew was a drunk, cruel man, and impatient for the throne. The kingdom was under siege from a giant lumbering beast army, and the king's chief sorcerer suspected that his fellow mage was behind the attacks, but had no proof. Now that we've set our scene, we take you to a small village right in the path of the beast army, where a turnip farmer attempts to harvest his crops before the land gets hard. While he does this, his wife and son take the already harvested crops to town market. While they're in town market, the farm is attacked by said beast army, and the farmer defends his farm and ends up saving the life of his neighbor, who, in fact, raised him. The farmer and the neighbor race off to town to try and protect the farmer's family and those of the village. The village is suffering the brunt of the attack from the beast army, which appears to be led by 3 shadow men, more shadow than men. This shadow man kidnaps the farmer's wife and kills his only firstborn son. Stricken with grief, the farmer joins his neighbor and brother-in-law and plans to go and rescue his wife from the clutches of this beast army. While preparing to set off on their journey, they come across the chief sorcerer, who takes an incredible interest in the farmer, where he came from, and the man who raised the farmer. Back at the palace, we learn that the nephew is in league with the traitor mage, and the traitor mage has been wooing the sorcerer's daughter and using her residual magic as a battery for his own. When the sorcerer's daughter realizes that he is in fact a traitor and has been using her merely as a battery for his magic, she kicks him out and tells her father, who now has the proof that the traitor mage is in fact a traitor mage. But before he can reveal the traitor mage as a traitor, the nephew, impatient for the throne, asks the mage to crown him king now. So the traitor mage poisons the king. Thinking the king soon to be dead, if not already dead, the nephew takes half the army and goes to join the traitor mage's beast army on the edge of the kingdom. But the king's chief sorcerer arrives in time to heal the king and save him from the poison. The king rallies the rest of the army and goes to meet the traitor nephew and traitor mage in battle. Meanwhile, our farmer and his band of unlikely heroes have tracked down the beast army and found the prisoners of camp. In an attempt to save his wife, they infiltrate the camp. However, they are discovered by the shadow creatures. The neighbor, the brother-in-law, all get captured. However, the shadow creatures, which it turns out are merely puppets of the traitor mage, attempt to hang our farmer. The mage doesn't know why, but he senses danger from our farmer, for he cannot read him, and so he attempts to hang him. But our farmer is more resilient than he looks, and he ends up killing the shadow creature and cutting himself down off the tree. However, he does not fully escape, and he would die, except for the chief sorcerer, having sensed his peril, rode off away from the army, found him, and brought him back to the king's camp. Here in the king's encampment, the sorcerer reveals to not only the farmer, but also the king, that this farmer is in fact the king's long-lost son. The king's camp comes in contact with the nephew, and a great battle ensues. The beast army is defeated, but the nephew gets in a lucky shot with an arrow and manages to kill the king. Reveling in his glory, he is surprised to find out that the farmer is, in fact, the king's son, and has been proclaimed king by the sorcerer in front of the entire camp. The nephew tries to run away, but is captured by the sorcerer's daughter, who has followed the camp in an attempt to help her father. In order to save his wife, the farmer king leads an attack on the mage's stronghold. The army fights each other at its walls, while the mage and sorcerer go toe-to-toe. The king and the sorcerer's daughter attempt to infiltrate the compound covertly. However, the mage defeats the sorceress, and on his deathbed, the sorcerer calls for his daughter. She magics her way to him, and he declares her now the chief sorceress, and tasks her with saving the king. Our brother-in-law and neighbor who were taken captive have led a revolt in the minds of the mage, and everything seems to be against the mage, but the mage is winning the fight against the farmer king. Just when it appears that the mage will win in the fight against the farmer king, the chief sorceress appears, and together her and the king fight the mage and end up winning. The king is reunited with his wife, who it turns out is pregnant, and everyone lives happily ever after. So what did you think? That was my attempt to speed things up a little bit, because normally I talk for 45 minutes, I lose my voice, and then I have a shit ton of editing to do. This was my attempt to speed it up. I hope you all liked it. If you know what the movie was, please leave a note down in the comments. If you would like me to do a movie, please leave a note down in the comments. Remember to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And while you're at it, go check out the Commuters Podcast, which is available on pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast. Look forward ahead for more things to come to this channel. I will soon start filming the Commuters Podcast and putting that up in YouTube form as well as podcast form. In the meantime, everyone, remember to stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe.